Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? When I went to Mozambique, unfortunately, I was raped by a witch doctor in Mozambique, and now he wants me to take my boss's husband. Am I supposed to do this or not? I am a 32-year-old woman from Zim. Currently, I am working as a maid here in Johannesburg. Mind you, I only said that I am in Gauteng simply because I do not want people to know where I am exactly for my own security. So I am working for this other couple. They are a wealthy, Sotho-speaking family. But despite everything, even though I act as if I am very respectful to my boss lady, but she does not even know that I have a secret that has kept me awake through so many nights whenever I think about her, for she does not have any idea what is going to come to her. For the traditional healer has told me that if I want to get rich, since some of the rituals that I had gone to perform in Mozambique, unfortunately, they did not work. What is the next step? I asked him, and he told me that the next step was that we are going to kill my boss lady, even though she did not even do anything against me. But what we want is her husband. If I get married to her husband, then it is going to be easy for me to achieve whatever that I want in South Africa. And the good thing is that my boss lady and her husband, they are not legally married, even though they have kids together. They just got married to each other the cultural way. So if I do my things as quickly as possible, if I can manage to get married to this man as quickly as possible, then what will happen is that I will force him to marry me so that legally I can become his wife. Then I can move on to the next step. My life was always full of struggles and desperation. There was no one who loved me in the family. Even when I would do something good for someone, that person, instead of thanking me, would end up hating me, even though I would have tried to treat them in the most nicest way, but that person will just turn around and betray me. I was born and raised in Zim, and I am the eldest daughter in a family of 5. We were poor. Very poor. My mother struggled to feed us, and my father was a drunk who eventually abandoned us. At 19, that was when I got married, thinking that it was going to be my escape from poverty, but marriage was just another prison for me. As for my husband and I, we were so poor. We lived in a one-roomed house in a location that is called Highfield in Harare. We tried to make money, and we could not make money at all because we did not have so much money to start a big business. All that we could do was to sell some vegetables and fruits by the side of the road there in Highfield. When we were poor, everything was so perfect. We had our small vegetable business, even though we had nothing, but still we were doing okay. I was also doing hairdressing from home. Customers were few. My husband then started resenting me. I did not even know that the reason as to why he was hating me all of a sudden, it was because he had found another woman. One day, when we were sitting by our fruit and veggie market, my husband, all of a sudden, he got angry at me simply because I knew that he was dating another woman who was wealthy. So I said, is it not far much better for you to introduce me to this woman, because this is what you want. You want to have 2 wives, right? So we need to know each other. Me and that girlfriend of yours. He got so angry. He was mad at me. He got up and he went and he collected his bags, and then he left me. And that was very painful. When he packed his bags and left just like that, he did not even say goodbye to our 2 kids. That was when I realized that there was no one who was going to come and save me. And then when I came to South Africa, and then I thought that it was going to be something new. I had dreams of finding a good job, saving money, and building a life for my children. But life in Johannesburg, I found that it was very cruel. I would work long hours and people would not even thank me enough, just giving me small money simply because I was from another country. I would send money home, and after sending everything home, I'll be left with nothing. Some nights I would cry myself to sleep, wondering if I had made a mistake coming to South Africa. So I had these other friends of mine, a lot of them who owned several apartments here in South Africa, who were always rich, and I wondered how these women were able to make so much money in a foreign land. So I started to question myself, and then I got involved in these things of ancestral worship until I met this other woman in Cape Town. Me and her, we spoke for a very long time, and she told me that without worshiping my ancestors, things were not going to work out. But she said, before you start to do that, I want you to take 6 eggs, and when you go to bed, do not sleep on top of the bed, but rather sleep on the floor. But you take those 6 eggs, and then you create a circle, and you and your blankets, you lie in the middle of that circle throughout the night. And then I'm going to see what is going to happen. So I then told her the dream that I had, because in my dreams, I saw myself and my relatives from my mother's side to my father's side. We were all gathered in a place, and we were waiting for a meal was being prepared for us whilst we were sitting at the high table. That was when the people who had prepared the food came with the food. When I opened my food, I did not see any food as such, but I only saw money. Then I saw a small little creature that rushed and jumped on top of the table. Then that small creature started to eat the money that was inside my plate, including all the money that was on the table. And then when I told this woman, she then said, as a family, there is a spirit of poverty that has been following you because your forefathers, by this, she meant that my father's father, my grandfather, him and his brothers, when they were still alive, they had gone to a traditional healer where they made a decision that they were going to be given their own god, which they were going to make the god of our family, and it was supposed to be worshipped, and this was the god that was going to give us money. And since our fathers, they had refused to worship that god, and then it meant that this was what was going to happen. It would be poverty after each and every generation. That was why we were suffering so much, because we had decided to be Christians instead of following the way of our forefathers. So this is what was happening in the family. I said, what am I supposed to do? That was when the healer told me that if I was going to tell my relatives that this is the situation for the were people that were going to die in the family very soon, they would think that I am just lying. I am someone who is going to do her own rituals. Now I am lying to the family that this is what has happened. I am trying to cover up for myself. If you want money, you have to do this alone. So I then took my savings and I traveled to Mozambique, and I was with this other woman who had also met this woman from Cape Town online. When we were in Mozambique, but in no man's land, this woman, that was when she said she wanted to return back to South Africa, for she was scared to continue. I said, no, look, we have been given these phone numbers, and the instruction was that once we are in Mozambique, we look for a SIM card, and then we insert the SIM card into our phone, and then we call these people. They would come and collect us right at the border. Why do you want to leave me alone? But she got scared. She stamped her passport and returned back to South Africa. I was left alone. I called those people after I had bought a SIM card, and then they came and they collected me, and we went to a remote village. And then that was when this other man came and told me that if I was ready to become rich, I was supposed to follow him. I did not know that I was entering into hell. For 3 days, I was locked inside a hut. I was only given porridge, food that I cannot even explain. It seemed more like porridge to eat. I was not allowed to bath. I was not allowed to do anything else rather than to say strange words. Then there was this other night when he would come and knock on my door and he would say, follow me. So I would refuse until this other day there was a big wind that was blowing, in which he told me that it was a demonic wind. So I got scared. He came and he said, follow me. I followed him, and then when I followed him, he grabbed me and he entered with me into this other room where he raped me, and he was whispering into my ear and saying that the spirits will bless you. I lay there, I was broken, but I thought that maybe I was going to be okay. I returned back to Johannesburg and there was no money, there was nothing. I felt cursed until I spoke with him again, and he said, you have unfinished business, Ruvimbo. If you want wealth, you must come back. I told him that I do not want to do that, but he said that, but when you came here, you said you wanted to become rich. I am offering you another way for you to become rich. So this is what is going to happen. Let us lay a trap for your boss's husband so that he can fall under your spell. And at work, that was when I was told that my boss, he can become my wife. Even to this very day, my boss is always staring at me strangely, like he's falling in love with me. Sometimes he walks around the house as if he is a madman. And as for the wife, she does not even notice anything, because this man, he is now in love with me. So I am scared. I really do not know if I am supposed to go ahead doing this. Should I return back to Mozambique? Because the healer said I am supposed to go back to Mozambique to collect the charms that I will use on my boss lady so that she can die and I can take over a husband. Since I failed to become rich overnight, we are going to use a husband. Please give me advice. Am I supposed to do this, or I'm not supposed to do this at all? Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with her in the comment section. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.